Hello everybody, my name is Simon and I make astrological videos and post them on the internet. Welcome to my channel. Thanks very much for coming over and listening to what I have to say. Truly appreciate it. Today I'm going to be bringing you part 2 of the series that I'm currently doing, which I'm super excited about, the Zodiac series. And this is part 2, like I said, following of part 1. For any of you guys that are watching this video and haven't watched part 1, I highly suggest that you go over and watch that one over there. I will put the link in the description below so that you guys can sort of follow the process, because I'm kind of like doing it in a way in which it's building on a sort of series so that everything makes sense in that way. For any of you guys that are returning, again, thanks so much for coming over and supporting me. Truly appreciate it. If you guys are interested in the content that I'm doing, click and do the subscribe button as well. Loads of information and words that I have to put in over there. And if you're interested in knowing more about your own astrological charts, come over to my site. All the information's at the bottom of the screen over there. And send me an email and we can connect and set up any readings that you're interested in. So yeah. So today, the fixed sign quadrant. Okay. So last time I started off by sharing you guys with a story that how these sort of like quadrants work within consciousness and how it actually exists in reality, right? Now we're looking at nature, and the story I began with was the growth of a tree, okay? And we used the cardinal energy, which was the new beginning energy, the inertian energy. It was like, let's start something over here. Part of that process within nature is to begin something, but because a lot of energy is part of that process, it also runs out very, very quickly. And so what happens is that nature has created this beautiful thing called sustainability, right? To be able to take something and allow it to continue the process, to be fixed on that thing. So the fixed energy quadrant correlates to the next step in this evolutionary process, which is the creation and growth process of the tree, okay? So it can be represented as the trunk, the stem, okay? The sort of main body part of this growth, this growing process that is existed within this tree. So we know the seed sort of broke through from the ground and started to grow, and that maintaining process of growing until it's reached a point in which it's able to be strong and structured within the ground and as doesn't move from left to right. It just has one direction and going up, okay? That is fixed energy, and it's such a beautiful expression, because whenever you've got a lot of fixed energy within your chart, understand that whenever you're going to be interacting with other energies that are asking you to move really, really quickly or change direction, it's going to be really difficult because you're traveling in one direction. You're fixated on that one thing. It's about sustaining something, okay? So the growth of the tree and the experience of the tree trunk and the stem, etc., and how it gets to its highest point is that fixed energy just going through and maintaining the sense. Okay, kind of cool, eh? So the 4 signs that are existing within the fixed energy is Taurus, it is Leo, it is Scorpio, and it is Aquarius. Okay, they're all fixed within the consciousness, and obviously each one of them have got a different element. So we're looking at Taurus as Earth, fire with Leo, water with Scorpio, and we've got air with Aquarius. Okay, so I'm going to begin with Taurus. Taurus fundamentally is the second house. It's the first process. It's the first sign within the fixed quadrant, and it correlates to the nature of survival. Okay, as you can see over there. And it's kind of an interesting symbol, because the symbol in itself represents the matter of balance, okay, holding something on, and the circle represents the soul, spirit, right? So you've got this beautiful archetype within that symbol that actually explains the nature of this energy. And that's exactly how the ancients did astrology. They looked at the nature of the energy and then drew the symbols in relationship to how they were manifesting. Pretty cool, eh? So survival, okay. Why? Because within consciousness, as soon as we've begun something, we need to then go on to the next step of how are we going to maintain this stuff? How are we going to understand the nature of everything that's working? And we can't also use the energy of outward going energy. We need to use the energy of inward, yin, okay, and day and night. So the energy of Taurus is about gathering stuff. It's about going out, okay, Aries, and then identifying your resources around you, okay, that is able and understanding that is relative to your needs for survival. Which is why Taurus then will on its next level correlates to your value systems, your needs, okay? So what it is that I need, that I think I need to survive, right? So as an example, 2 people can have say for instance planets in the second house, okay, and you stand them right next to each other. They've had total different conditioning patterns, okay. One of them is going to say that you might need, let's say for instance you've got Venus in Gemini as an example, okay. Gemini we know is gathering energy in terms of information, a lot of intellectual, air sign, and we put Venus over there, which relates to the one side of Taurus, okay. And this person will define their needs and their values around lots of information, gathering lots of information, being well read. Why? Because instinctively, at the bottom line of this process, this person on an unconscious level is valuing that as what I need to survive. Whereas let's say, for instance, somebody has Venus in Scorpio. A large part of that process is going to be about emotional commitment, about being completely and utterly open, and valuing that as a need for survival because of the fact that Scorpio is so inherently sort of mistrustful, only because of past life experiences of abandonment and betrayal, etc., that it's defined like that. But you get what I'm trying to say. The difference in reality from person to person is correlating specifically to how their needs are, okay? So it's Taurus, your needs, your survival, and then through that case, procreation, right? Okay, as a human race, we understand that we need to survive, so procreate. But then if you look at anything in life, you'll see that there's the Taurus archetype, because it's relating to procreation. How do we sustain our existence on this planet? Right? You get it. So the next archetype is Leo. Leo is a fantastic energy in itself because it's about total creative self-expression. It's that who you are, right? That you show out in the world with lots of color and vibrance and energy and understanding and so on and so forth, right? And it is a fixed sign, it's fire, and it's going outward, which is why, as you can see, I'm expressing myself here on YouTube, and I'm sharing with you guys a part of my personality. Okay, and I'm going to share with you how the Aquarius age is what we're moving into, and all of a sudden this YouTube thing comes out onto the market, right, where everybody's sort of like creating their own like sense of identity and then putting it onto the internet, right? Now I'm watching it, okay, and we have this beautiful interplay between Aquarius and Leo. I'm sharing my subjective of self-opinions and so on and so forth onto the internet. I'm capturing it and I'm putting it on the internet where somebody can objectively see who I am. Aquarius, pretty cool, eh? But anyway, Leo. Leo is an archetype, fire energy, going outwards, creative self-expression. And that picture over there sort of captures the essence of Leo in itself and the nature of it. Leo also correlates to children as well, specifically because of the fact that they are unconditioned in their sense as they're growing up. Obviously, they get conditioned through how life works, but they are unconditioned self-expression. You get what you see, and the other way around. So the next sign in the quadrant is Scorpio, and Scorpio specifically correlates to the emotional or unconscious emotional attachments, right? Taurus is the more physical side of attachments, where Scorpio is the more emotional side of attachments, correlates to the soul, but more specifically also a water sign and yin, so inner reflection. And it's the bottom line of everything. It is the death process, it's the transformation process, which is why when you take Scorpio and you link it to Leo, and then you add it to the cardinal cross, which is what I was talking about right now, you'll see that through a relationship dynamic where you are expressing yourself and your sense of identity, and you're doing it in the very Leonic sort of creative expression way, you will find that there will be emotional transformation in that experience as well, right? I'm sort of adding the layers to how relationship dynamics work within consciousness by adding more signs to it. But can you see how cool this is? Is that like whenever you're relating to relationships, as I said, with the cardinal cross, and you add some more signs to it, you can see how this is becoming even more deeper and more complex and more sort of like insightful at the same time. So emotional security is also associated with Scorpio, and it is, like I said, the intimate part, so the privacy, right? It's about me and you, selective. And as you can see over there, emotional intimacy, deep commitment, okay, in your marriages, right? That's why you have this sort of monogamous type of thing within consciousness, and why Scorpio also relates to marriage in itself, because it's deep commitment, right? Personal sharing of thoughts and feelings, exactly the same thing. A lot of us won't share our feelings with somebody that's just random. We'll share it with the ones that we can ultimately trust, that inner sense of emotional security. Get it? And emotional and mutual understanding as well. Sharing something with somebody that you feel that is valuable enough to share this inner depths of who you are and vulnerabilities, etc., and also at the same time being able to relate to them, because their needs and their belief systems and sense of identity are also linked with who you are as a person in some way. Pretty cool, eh? And obviously with Scorpio, we're also relating to that death and rebirth process. So it's also related to the DNA, because as I'm going to share with you guys a little bit later, how we actually procreate procreate with these two symbols. Okay, Aquarius. Aquarius is the fun sign within the constellation. Personally, I have a large favoritism towards it. For any of you Aquarians that are watching this over here, keep that identity strong, right? How unique are you? Why are you such a rebel? Why are you so different? Aquarius is awesome in that way because what it teaches us is the ability to be able to identify ourselves within a group and remain fixed within that identity and not surrender it to the group dynamic. It's about sharing your own sense of self and the group being interacting with that and connecting to that space, not sort of like leaving your own self at the door and just becoming sort of like everybody else, which is why you'll see that the unique picture that I've sent over there or put it over there, you've got everybody sort of the same, and then you've got the Aquarius sort of attached in the middle over there looking very bent and out of shape and different. And it's an awesome sign because it allows us to actually evolve, to be honest, on a very sort of like beginning phase level. So it's pretty cool. Aquarius rocks, and it is about objectivity. That is the purpose of it. It rules science. It's about looking at something with a detached sense of understanding and completely for what it is in that process. Okay, so now that you guys know all the archetypes, I'm going to quickly run over them. Taurus, our sense of needs and survival, and through that process, how we procreate or need to survive on a physical plane. Leo, we knew, was about your sense of ego and your pardon me, your creative self-expression. Scorpio, inner transformation and your relationship to others on a deep and emotional way. And obviously Aquarius, that objectivity, that sense of detachment, that sense of looking at things without any sort of like prejudice. Okay, so as you guys know from the previous video, there is the actual constellation and how it's set up in themselves. I want to let you guys know that in this actual process where these constellations are making aspects to each other, okay, they're making challenging aspects, squares, 90 degrees and 270 degrees. And what this actually means is it promotes evolution. It promotes the sense of not staying in the one place. It's about pro sort of like movements. That's what squares do. They force us into situations in which we need to sort of wiggle our way out of through irritation, okay? And that's why we get these dynamics within consciousness of evolution through these grand crosses. Okay, so ultimately this cross correlates specifically to the procreation of humanity, okay, and the relationship that we have to it, okay. So Taurus comes along and says, hold on, identify my needs, I need to survive, okay, so I need to then find a partner to mate with. So what you do is you creatively express yourself within the group dynamic and you attract, okay. Libra, remember the cardinal cross? That's coming into the process as well. So Taurus, Aquarius and Leo will relate specifically to that experience. And then what will happen is that you will form over a period of time through balance and harmony, Libra, a sense of emotional trust and inner security with that person that will be related to, I can trust you now, right? And that's why trust takes such a long time, because there's a lot of experiences of opening up, Scorpio, of knowing what's beneath the surface, etc., etc. And eventually when we get to that point, we start to trust and we go, okay, right, let's start a family, for instance, okay, let's buy a house, let's do this, and we start a family and we procreate, right? Because that's the action. And that's how we create life. So life in itself is actually in this quadrant because of that process, okay? At least through the human condition and obviously out there in the world. So there it is over there, that great picture of the ocean, the water signs and such. Okay, so what I would like to share with you guys right now is interplays within the signs, but sort of leaving other signs out. So the relationship between Aquarius and Leo creates this energy that you guys see on the left-hand side over there, right? Class interprets determine our ideas, right? So as you can see, there's a tree, objective reality, Aquarius. We know that Aquarius is detachment, and we go subjective interpretation. Oh, this person sees a tree, this person sees an apple, and this person sees money, right? Everybody's perspectives are different relative to their subjective interpretation, Leo, okay? And it's the relationship between Aquarius and Leo and how they interact with each other that allows us to be objectifying and subjective and objective and subjective. That's how that exists within reality, right? Pretty neat, eh? Okay. The relationship between Scorpio and Taurus, okay? Taurus, like I said, identifying my needs, I need to procreate, and then Scorpio, you procreate with somebody else through deep trust and intimacy, etc., etc., and you create a child. And look over there, new beginnings. And remember what I said about Leo, right? The new beginnings? So this is the archetype of children, and the archetype of children comes into that process where it's Taurus, Scorpio, and Leo that creates the third consciousness and obviously the child, and we get to live on as a race, okay? Okay, so then if we flip it on the other side and we've got Taurus, Scorpio, and Aquarius, check this out. So on the left-hand side, you see world 1, the physical world. Remember, Earth sign Taurus, the physical attachments, our relationship as the Earth triad between Capricorn and Virgo, right? That's what makes the physical world. Then you have the subjective reality, which is Leo, right? Okay, as we know, our own personal opinions, our own creative self-expression. We haven't got to the part yet where we're disseminated into society yet, so remember that energy is only understanding it from its own perspective. And then you have world 3, which is objective knowledge, right? Aquarius objectivity, subjective reality Leo, and the physical world Taurus. And that exists within our reality. So we have this physical world, we have our subjective reality of how we're interacting with it, and then we have the objective groups and dynamics and such. That's why Aquarius will also relate to the group dynamic, because it's about other people's perspectives that also have Leo, by the way, and their own objectivity about who you are and about what reality is, and that interplay within that experience. So that's that Karl Popper's 3 words over there specifically is coming from the consciousness of Aquarius, Taurus, and Leo. Pretty neat, hey? Okay, next button. Let's have a look. Objectivity. Okay, undistorted by emotional personal bias based on observable phenomena. Pretty cool. Look at this. Aquarius, we know objectivity, undistorted, right? The connection between Aquarius and Scorpio is relative to the undistorted by emotion. Remember that Scorpio is a water sign and it is emotional, inherently emotional, because the connection between Cancer and Pisces. So when we are looking at something objectively, we kind of have to remove the emotional capacity and look at it from a non or an undistorted by emotional field. So the relationship between Scorpio and Aquarius teaches us how to actually get that. Remember, the square is about nudging us to evolve through that process. So Aquarius and Scorpio is about the undistorted emotion, right? It's that journey to get to that point. And personal bias, again, the connection between Scorpio and Leo, my own personal emotional field, right? And then you have the Leo connecting to Aquarius, which allows us then, again, to look at it from an objective perspective and distinguish between what is subjective and what is objective, right? And that's the connection between Aquarius, Leo, and Scorpio. That's that T square that is teaching us how to evolve through that process. Pretty neat, eh? Pretty neat. And we come back to the original point again of the whole zodiac, creating life, sustaining life, and being able to understand it. And I thought that this picture was really, really awesome because it captures everything. It's like the objective world, as you can see there. You've got the sun in the background sort of shining light, the Leo energy. And you've got the earth, which is Taurus. And then you've got the ocean in the background, which is Scorpio, the water. It's just such a beautiful thing. And then you've got the union of the two, creating life on earth and sustaining it. Pretty neat, eh? Okay, guys, that is the part on the fixed quadrants. I hope that this was really insightful for you guys. This was something that, like I said, I've really been excited to share with you. If you want to understand how this is actually working in your own natal chart, for instance, and want to know more, write in the comments below, and also come over to my website as well, and send me an email, book a reading with myself, and get to know more about the nature of your own existence within this fixed cross. But until then, guys, thanks very much for listening and taking what I have to say. Hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the content. And until then, take care. Bye.